Okay, so the final part is recording the tenor part. So I'm just gonna let's remind ourselves of the melody. 1, 2, 3, ha. First note of the melody, ha, ha. We've done that. Ha, alto part, ha, aha. The tenor part, ha. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
If you can talk, you can sing. There is really nothing to it.
Breathe in, breathe out, add a little vibrato. Yes, anyone can sing, but you gotta be consistent.
Know your do re mi is just like 1, 2, 3.
You will be the best, and you will sing so well. It's time to sing with Frank at TBL.
Hey everyone, it's me again, and today we're gonna do something very, very practical. Okay, I'm gonna teach you how you can improve your harmony on your own. Okay, so I'll show you what you need and what you have to do. Okay, so you would require a few devices, like 2 phones. Could be a phone and an iPad, whatever device you can record on. Okay, so I'm gonna use 2 phones today. Guess what? You won't even need a piano. You won't need a keyboard. It's very simple, and this is something you can do to improve your mastery or your skill in harmony. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do now. You go to the recording device. So here I am. Okay, I'm using an Android, and I have to put it in standard. So we have standard, interview, and speech to text. But what I require is standard. And I'll do the same on this one. Yeah. So I have them open right now. So what I'm gonna do now is with one, I'm gonna sing a song, the melody of a song. Now remember, in harmony, the melody is the most important part in the harmony. It is like the backbone, the backbone of the harmony. All right, so what we're gonna do, just imagine this. We have a basic arrangement, a fundamental arrangement of harmony. So we have the melody at the top, we have the alto immediately below the melody, and then we have the tenor immediately below the alto. Now, this arrangement can change, okay? So the parts that soprano voices or alto voices or tenor voices sing may change, but what never changes is their voice type. So you have to remember that, okay? So for instance, we have a lady, right, whose voice type is a mezzo-soprano. Now, her voice type is always a mezzo-soprano. So whatever is highest in a harmony, okay, the highest part could be a tenor part, the highest part could be an alto part, the highest part could be a melody, depending on the song and depending on the key, okay? So whatever is highest, you give it to the person who can sing highest. And that person is this mezzo-soprano lady, okay? And then the altos are very simple to remember. The altos are the middlemen. Just remember them by that. So whatever harmony part there is, whatever is in the middle, they sing it. If it's the melody in the middle, they sing it. If it's the tenor part in the middle, they sing it. Okay? And so on and so forth. Now remember, we're dealing with just 3 parts. Okay? We could have 4 parts. And you find out what I mean eventually. So we have the melody, that's a part. The melody part, we have the alto part immediately below the melody, and then we have the tenor part. You see that? If there's anything to be on top of this, it will be a repetition of what we already have at the bottom. Okay, so you leave these guys at the bottom, and then you add a fourth part, which would be the high tenor. You see, so it's not a new part, it's just a repetition of something at the top. Now this one at the top could maybe move sometimes differently or awkwardly, slightly different from this one, but very similar to create advanced harmony. But we're not talking about advanced harmony today. Okay, so I'm gonna take it step by step from the beginning, and then we'll build it up eventually. Good. So what song are we gonna use today? A very simple song with few movements. All right, the song is Hallelujah. Good. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take one of my phones, let's say this one, okay, and I'm gonna sing. Let's imagine the person leading the song caused the key to be taken. Now you don't even have to know the key, okay? Just sing the song and sing it right. Make sure everything is okay. There's no off key or nothing, okay? So just imagine the person who is leading this song caused the melody to be at the top. You know what I'm saying? Very high, and that means the soprano voices are gonna take that. They're gonna take the melody. So let's start with the melody. Always start with the melody. So you go ahead and record the melody. And before you record, make sure you count yourself in. Else, you're gonna miss the first few notes before you start singing. Okay? So I'll show you what I mean in a few seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. So we got it. So I'll always name your files, name your recordings, else they'll be lost in an ocean of other recordings. Right? So we're just gonna call it melody, or let's say melody 1. Good. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna listen. Okay, so I'll turn on my Bluetooth speaker and connect to it. Okay, so let's listen. I want to make sure it sounds nice, because if, for instance, any note along the line is not perfect or is off, it's gonna affect the harmony. So the harmony is not gonna sound right there, no matter how good you sang the other parts. It's gonna sound like, ooh, that part is not nice, it doesn't sound good. So you have to make sure everything is right. So let's listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. Good. It's usable. We can use this. So here's what we're gonna do next. I'm gonna play the melody, which I just recorded, and with the second device, I'm gonna record what's coming from my mouth and the melody to create a harmony, a 2-part harmony. Okay, so how do we then find out where we should start from? Yeah, because the melody goes hallelujah. Now the clue is this: try to use the first note or the second note of that part you want to use to determine the other parts, and in this case the melody. Use the melody. You see, the melody is very important. So if it goes like this, ha, there is a formula a formula that would help you always find especially that first note of the other parts. Now you have to make sure the first note is accurate Because if it's not accurate, it's gonna lead the other notes. It's just like a train veering off the right track. Every other part of the train behind is gonna follow where the front goes. You see that? So that first note is very, very important. But what is gonna help us make sure that the first notes of the other parts are very accurate is an exercise. An exercise that if you do it every day or do it for long, the distance, the intervals of the harmony, no matter what note it is going to come naturally to you. The intervals are going to come naturally to you. Let me give you an example. So I sang, let's play it again. 1, 2. So I went 1, 2, 3. Hallelujah. So ha ha ha. Oh, are you wondering how I did that? It's the same thing I just mentioned. I did this exercise long enough until the intervals are planted in my mind. I use solfege. For instance, here's like how the exercise goes. Do, mi, so, mi, do, re, fa, la, fa, re, mi, so, ti, so, mi, fa, la, do, la, fa, so, ti, re, ti, so, la, do, mi, do, la, ti, re, fa, re, ti, do, do, la, fa, la, do, ti, so, mi, so, ti, la, fa, re, fa, la, so, mi, do, mi, so, fa, re, ti, re, fa, mi, do, la, do, mi, re, ti, so, ti, re, do. I told you, I did it long enough till I can sing it. Just like that, without the help of the exercise. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to memorize all these notes. All you have to do is just do the exercise, sing along with the voice, all right? And when it's time to find your part, you can just do You don't have to say so, mi, do. You don't have to know the notes of the solfa notation. It's as simple as that. The intervals will be planted in your mind, and that's what matters. You go, Again, in this case, let's listen again to Hallelujah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Halle, ha, ha, ha. I got it. Ha, first one, the melody which we have. Ha. The next one, the next part below the melody, alto. Ha. The tenors, which is the one below the alto. So let's take some time, okay, to just do this exercise and then come back.
1, 2, 3, go. Do, mi, so, mi, do, re, fa, la, fa, re, mi, so, ti, so, mi, fa, la, do, la, fa, so, ti, re, ti, so, la, do, mi, do, la, ti, re, fa, re, ti, do, la, fa, la, do, ti, so, mi, so, ti, la, fa, re, fa, la, so, mi, do, mi, so, fa, re, ti, re, fa, mi, do, la, do, mi, re, ti, so, ti, re, do.
Welcome back. Now, this exercise, like I mentioned before, and it's very important, is something you don't do once and expect it to stay in your mind. No, you do it again and again and again. As you're doing that, you're training your mind. You're training your muscle memory to automatically remember those intervals. And when you do that, your problem is solved. You become so good with harmony. So right now we are working with the most basic form, or the first arrangement. You can call it the first arrangement or the basic arrangement, which is the melody at the very top, the alto part, and the tenor part. So you'd find the melody being sung by the soprano voices, and then you have the alto being sung by the alto voices, and then you find the tenor sang by the tenor voices. Simple. Tenor to tenor, alto to alto, melody to soprano. Other arrangements come from this basic arrangements. You don't have to memorize anything. It's very simple. See, when you understand the principles, the rest is easy. Just apply the same formula or principle and you get the accurate answer. Okay. Woo! Are you ready? Because I'm ready. All right. So now here is the reason I counted myself in before I started singing, because when I go 1, 2, 3, already I knew the key and I know the key, and I'm getting myself ready mentally to come in with the first note, the ha. Remember, alto, ha. All right, so let's listen again to make sure we're on the right key. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ha, ha, ha. So I want to do the alto. Ha, soprano, ha. That's the one. That's the one. And when this is also another area that challenge, people or singers, they get the note ha, ha, ha. And when they are about to sing, the note changes like to something else. Don't do that, because remember the train again. Wherever the front goes, that's where the whole train is gonna go. So make sure that first note you don't forget. Train yourself to remember. Try to remember. Ha. Don't make it shift to ha. Don't make it shift to ha. No. Maintain that note is the most important note, because once you start singing, your harmony is gonna go in that trajectory, that direction. All right, so let's record our alto part. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. 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 Okay, I think that's good enough. So let's call this Hallelujah alto part 1. It's gonna sound like part 1, part 2, part 3. No, so I'll just call it alto 1. No, yes. Actually, no. It is alto and the melody. So I'm just gonna call it alto and melody. So let's listen. Let's just listen straight from this phone, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. 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 Okay, it's pretty good. Okay, so our third part. Now that we have the melody and the alto here, we are gonna go back to this first phone and record the final part. Okay, so the final part is recording the tenor part, So I'm just gonna, let's remind ourselves of the melody. 1, 2, 3, ha. First note of the melody, ha, ha. We've done that. Ha, alto part. Ha, aha. The tenor part. Ha. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. Okay, so we have a complete harmony. Now, if you notice somewhere that's not quite right, you would hear it just by listening back. And this is the importance of recording yourself, listening back, and analyzing. That way, you'd hear things you didn't hear if you hadn't recorded it. Things you didn't hear when you were actually singing it. Okay? Sometimes you could conclude that the singing was bad when actually it was good. Or sometimes you could conclude that the recording was good when actually it was bad. So by recording, you'd have a very good judgment of your singing. Okay, so let's call this Hallelujah tenor parts. Well, tenor 2. I know it's a part, okay? So we are done. Let's listen to the whole thing.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Whoa, that's really good. Now, let's move to the next example. So what if on a different day, you choose a different key because of the person leading it or something else, or it's a different song, and then we find the melody in the middle. The melody is not that high, it's not that low. Who do you give it to? Remember the middleman, okay? So you give the voice types whatever part is in their range. Yeah. So you're not gonna give it to the soprano voices because their voices shine best when it's high. You're not gonna give it to the tenor voices because that might be kind of uncomfortable, too high and uncomfortable for them. All right. So you give it to the ones who sing the middle, which is the alto voice. Okay. So you're gonna give it to the alto voices. So now it's gonna sound like this. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Now, I don't know if we have enough time, but let's just record maybe just first few notes, okay? So I'm going to record with this phone. I'm going to record a new melody, which is now dropped. It's in the middle voices, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
If you can talk, you can sing. There is really nothing to it.
Breathe in, breathe out, add a little vibrato. You said anyone can sing, but you gotta be consistent.
Know your do re mi is just like 1, 2, 3.